Hi, this is Rod Batson, a serial entrepreneur from Houston, Texas, and you are now tuned in to According to Portia.
Hello and welcome to the show. My name is Portia Monique, and today I'll be your host. And today I'm sitting down with a visionary leader who's redefining what inclusion actually looks like in real time. From building businesses to building pathways, he's turning purpose into opportunity and proving that ability has never been the limitation. Rod Batson, a Houston based CEO, serial entrepreneur, and philanthropist, is leading initiatives like Howdy Homemade Ice Cream and Helping Heroes Staffing. Welcome to the show, Rod.
Hey, thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So I like to, before we even begin and dive into this interview, I love to learn people's origin stories, right? So off camera, we were talking about how you're a native of Houston and, of course, you live in the surrounding areas. But tell me, how did you get on this entrepreneurial track and what led you to become the man that you are today?
So if I back up, growing up, my cousin had Down syndrome. My family's from Third Ward, Houston, Texas, and my cousin Easy, who passed away during COVID, he had Down syndrome. We were the same age. So I grew up with Easy, and so all I know is that. I never saw individuals with special needs as different because my parents kind of raised me with Easy. So he was the norm to me. And so I always told myself that if God put me in a situation where finances weren't in question, where I was kind of financially stable, I wanted to do things to give back to the special needs population. Growing up, I always thought like the things that you do for that population was kind of nonprofit, so you couldn't make money doing. But as I got into the entrepreneurial space, I saw that we can make money and we can, employ these individuals and they can be amazing workers. So we're kind of changing the way that you see business and who you can hire in business. And
Yeah.
that's kind of what led me to where I'm at now.
Certainly commendable. I growing up, we didn't necessarily know what it was and we didn't differentiate between it, right? Because we,
Hmm.
of course, I think a lot of people had people with either autism, and of course
Hmm.
April is Autism Awareness Month, as well as Down syndrome in their family, but we treated them like family. We didn't know
Correct.
any different. So
Yeah.
definitely commendable to you to want to highlight that and enable everyone else to just kind of be aware of what it
Yeah.
is, right?
Yes.
Now, you built multiple businesses, but what stands out is your commitment to inclusion. At
Correct.
what point did this shift from business to mission? And at what point did this shift from business to mission? And what made it non negotiable for you?
Yeah, easy. So growing up, I grew up in like inner city, and so I wasn't raised around money. My family is middle class at best, and we just grew up learning how to work hard. And so I always envisioned like having nice cars and big houses and the big chains and all the things that you idolize when you're young. And at the age of 28, I was blessed to be able to afford all those things. And I remember, at 28, I bought a Lamborghini. And I remember telling myself when I was 5, like, man, if I ever get this Lamborghini, I'll be the happiest man in the world. And at 29, I was miserable. I went through a little depression. And I had lots of money in my account. I had a 7 bedroom home, 8 cars at the time before I was 30 years old. And it was one of my lowest times of my life. And
Mm,
shortly after that, COVID came and it slowed life down for me. I
hmm.
started to realize the real meaning and purpose of life. And that's what kind of honed me back into finding my purpose. When I worked for
Yeah.
Child Protective Services out of college, I was the happiest I ever was. And I was making $42,000 a year. So I kind of understood then, like, it wasn't about money. It wasn't about financial gain and materialistic things that you can achieve with success. It was more about like serving your purpose and walking in your
Hmm.
purpose. And so, that's how Howdy came about. During COVID, I saw on Good Morning America, Tom Landis, who is the founder of Howdy, was on TV with a employee that looked just like my cousin who was passing. He had Down syndrome. And he was talking about this ice cream shop that was going out of business because he's liquidated all of his funds and he did a GoFundMe. The community raised I think 90,000 to help him keep his doors open, but he depleted that too. And so he was like, "Man, I'm exhausted. I don't know when COVID is gonna let up, and I have to shut my doors." And so I called Tom. He didn't know me from a can of paint. I called him. 3 weeks later, I bought Howdy, and so
Wow.
kind of that was a God thing. He got me back focused on my mission and not on materialistic things and chasing the glitters and glamour of life. And so from that point on, I kind of just made it my mission to walk in my purpose and serve others and get back to who I was before the financial stability came. And so it's been an amazing journey. I think the last 7 years of my life, my entrepreneurial pathway has been an amazing blessing, and I'm just walking in my purpose. So I love it. I don't feel like any of this stuff is work.
It's so inspirational to hear your story because you came into money first, but the
Mhm.
money sounded like it humbled you,
Yeah.
right? As opposed to the opposite way around. So
Mhm.
that's definitely very inspirational. And I'm happy that you're able to tell the story still free, still
Yeah.
doing
Yeah.
the people's work. And you realize at that point that that was something that shifted in you. And you were just like, I'm not happy with all of the things, right? And then one another thing that I wanted to touch on is you said you envisioned when you were 5 that you would
Mhm.
have a Lamborghini or something like
Mhm.
that. Yeah,
Did.
talk more about that because a lot of the time I think that we manifest without even
Mhm.
realizing that manifestation is happening, right? So
Yeah,
talk
no.
more about it.
Yeah, my whole life has been a manifestation. When I was working with CPS, I always said I'm gonna own an emergency children's shelter for kids, and I have one. Everything that I have now, I once told myself I'm gonna have. And same with the car. Growing up, I just thought that was the pinnacle of success is to have a Lamborghini. So that was the first thing I bought when I got on per se. And
Yeah.
and a big house that was useless. I lived in one bedroom out of the seven, so it's just wasting money. But you fantasize over these things and you think it'll bring you true happiness and peace, and it doesn't. Walking in
Mhm.
your purpose really does. And so that's my mission now. And that's what I kind of share with others that haven't maybe found their way yet. I just
Mhm.
try to be the light, and I'm still trying to find my way. Every day I learn. I learn from Latoya and Janelle and you and everybody else that I come in contact with because I just want to be a student. I got to a point in life when I was in my late 20s where I thought I knew it all and had it all. And I
Okay.
think that's what drove me to where I was, a dark
Yeah.
place. Because if you're no longer learning, it's like you're no longer living. And so I'm back just every day, just trying to be a little better, man. That's it.
Hashtag, if you're no longer learning, you're no longer living. So you need to coin that because I like that. And of course, clearly your cousin's legacy shaped your perspective. You went ahead, bought Howdy homemade ice cream, and
Mhm.
nearly your entire staff consists of individuals with special needs. Something that
Yes,
most companies wouldn't even consider to do, and some may consider it to be unconventional, if you will.
definitely.
What have they taught you about excellence that the traditional workforce often overlooks?
They don't have another shot. If you don't like what you're doing and I don't like what I'm doing, we can apply at another job and go get one. They don't have another opportunity. So their sense of urgency and their sense of commitment is different than anybody else.
Yeah.
Secondly, they don't think to steal from you. I don't watch my cash register. I don't have a camera over my register to see if you're taking money out of the cash register. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I don't have the same worries that other individuals have. Lastly, they don't look to clock out. They want to actually work more because that's all they have. So you don't have a situation of kids calling in. They actually call to pick up more shifts. And
Wow.
so you run into the opposite problems that people in the real world, I would say, run into. So I always explain it like this. I own medical companies, a trucking company, home health, hospice. There's a slew of businesses I do own, but Howdy kind of gives me all of the feels. I
Yeah.
have certain companies that generate a lot of revenue, but it's not your purpose, right? It does it all.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just go sit in there to catch a vibe, man. And
Yeah.
it's a beautiful thing because the individuals that work there, it's not about the ice cream. The ice cream is good, but it's more about the mission and the people that we employ.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And that is definitely something that you have to take into perspective when you own businesses, right? So watching the cash register, watching what's coming in and going out is
Mhm.
definitely a concern. And with something like this, you bring it up, they are not concerned about that.
Mm-mm.
And that is
Yeah.
such a good, peaceful feeling.
It is. Yeah, peace is everything. You can't buy that. When you don't have to look over your shoulder, it makes the world a way better spot. And that's what I love about Howdy. I don't ever have to question who's in there. You
I
don't have
love
to question their motives or intent. It's black and white with them.
Wonderful. So, of
Mhm.
course, we are in National Autism Awareness Month, April. What do you think that people still fundamentally misunderstand about autism, especially in the context of employment and leadership potential?
Simple. We always look at people's disability instead of their abilities. And that's just something our brains are wired to do. So I feel like if the world can start looking at what they can do instead of looking at what they can't do, you would see the potential in them. And that's
Yeah.
how he does. We just focus on the ability instead of the disability because all of us have a disability in some form or fashion. You know what I mean? Some of us are egotistical. We got a lot of pride. Some of us are know-it-alls. And these are all disabilities too that prevent us and hinder us. So at the
Yeah.
end of the day, like we want people to see the strengths in us, right?
Yeah.
We always say, "Why don't you see the good in me?" Right? And you know, my favorite Christian song is "He saw the best in me" when everyone else in the world saw the worst in me. And I feel like that's what we do with our individuals with special needs. We try to see the best in them, and you put them in a
Yes.
position to win. For
Yes.
instance, our cash register, we modified our cash register so everything is round numbers. One scoop of ice cream is $5. Two scoop is $7. A topping is $1. Why do we do that? So they never have to count change. They
Yeah.
can they can get a $5 and a $10 bill and give somebody a $5 bill back. They may
Yeah.
not be able to get a $10 bill and give $4.37 back. So you
Mm-hmm.
simplify it in a way where they can work the cash register. So you just
Mm-hmm.
have to modify systems and put them in a position where they can win. And that's how we did.
Listen, so you are dropping gems all over the place, and I'm trying to recollect them. But one of the ones that you said was we look at their ability as opposed to their disability.
Mhm.
That's profound, and that's certainly a lesson that everyone can learn from. And then
Yeah.
you also said he saw the best in me. Go ahead and sing a bar.
Now that's one thing I can't do is sing. But if y'all haven't heard it,
Go
listen
ahead,
to it. It'll move. He saw the best of me. That's
a
all. You
bar for
know,
us right quick.
that's my go-to. That's one of my go-tos. You know, because that's
Yeah,
true. You know, even though
yeah,
we like at times when we feel like we winning or we down, you have to remember that God always sees the best in us, and He wakes us up the next day, and we have a chance and a choice to make it better. And so
yeah.
that's just what I do, man. I feel like I just take these simple lessons and apply them to life, and it works.
There's also often a hesitation from employers when it comes to hiring individuals with special needs, of course. What would you say to decision makers who are still sitting on the fence about that?
It's a reason that there's now wanted and now hiring signs everywhere. There's a reason that there's a unemployment gap because we're looking in the same places and it's not there. You have so many amazing individuals wanting opportunities that we just overlook. You can cure a lot of the problems that we have in the workplace by just looking on the other side for individuals that we pass up because they may be ex-offenders, they may be overweight, they may have a disability, they blase, but these are good candidates still that deserve a shot. At the end of the day, we got to think about it. When we graduate college, the number one thing that all these jobs want is work experience. But how do you have work experience when you just got out of college? Somebody took a chance on us, all of us. There's some place in time when somebody said, "You have zero work experience, but I like that you're articulate. I like that you
Mhm,
showed up on time. I like that your father was a hard worker. Let me give
mhm.
you a shot." And you
Yeah,
proved yourself, right?
yeah.
And that's the same thing that they all need. Just give them a
Mhm.
shot and see. And when you do, you'll see why Howdy employs 90% individual with special needs. Out of the 120 employees I have, the 30 employees with special needs are my best ones. The other
Yeah.
90 with master's degrees, they give me all my gray hairs.
So they know everything.
They know too much. So I'd
Yeah.
rather deal with these any day of the week.
Now, before we bring this interview to a close, I do want to shine the spotlight on you because, like you said, you're a serial entrepreneur. And speaking of betting on someone, speak to the person who may be on the fence about betting on themselves and going forward with their dreams so that they can build a legacy for their family, their children, and the generation that comes after them.
You got to find your purpose and you walk in it, right? But then you have to have faith because the truth is, like God has already he already took two steps for us, man. And so I do think when you just walk in faith and not try to figure it out yourself and have all the
Yeah.
answers, it works out for you. We are all 100%. We are all 100 out of 100 when it comes to problems and battles. We've overcome.
Yeah.
That's why we're here today. So I think the biggest thing is the fear of like failing, the fear of it not working. It's the fear. It's a lack of faith. When you
Mhm.
find your purpose, I just say go. go, because you never know who you can inspire. You never know what you can do, or who you can, what life you can change if you don't try. If you
Yeah.
don't try, I can guarantee you this though, you'll never change anything. So
Mm.
it's worth.
I was telling someone yesterday, and I impressed my damn self. I was like, okay, girl. But I was telling someone yesterday that nothing beats a try but a fail. Nothing beats a try but a fail. Go ahead.
Yeah, I tell my son, he's really good at basketball. The other day he was gun shy. He didn't want to shoot. And I was like, Trace, I guarantee if you don't shoot, you won't make a shot. But if you shoot it, at least you have a chance. And that's the same thing I say in life. Shoot your shot. You got a chance at it working. If you
Yeah,
don't shoot it, you guarantee it'll never work. So
guarantee.
just try it. Your odds are better trying than not trying. You got a 0% not trying. You got a
Yeah.
50% chance if you do try.
You got to go with the odds. Now, speaking of odds, for the individuals that you've worked with, um, over 100 and counting, right? What's been the most powerful transformation that you witnessed that people wouldn't necessarily expect?
Individuals like myself that are multimillionaires and very successful, we still learn from them.
Yeah.
There was an individual with autism that taught me and my sister and my sister-in-law, who were teachers for over 19 years, how to work our cash register, how to figure out a 6.75% tax rate to get it to a round number. We kept on typing in the 6.75 and it was coming to like $4.87. And he, off the top of his head, said, "No, you're doing it wrong. Type it in like this," and it went to $5. It's very intriguing to me to see individuals that we say are disabled teach our master level individuals lessons every day.
Yeah.
And so after story where we learn so much from individuals with special needs day in and day out. So
I love it.
I recommend people interact with them every chance they can, because you'll see everything you need to know and want to know in life. You'll learn
Hmm.
from them.
I love it. There we go. Last question. If you could scale this model nationally tomorrow, what systems and or mindsets would need to change first to make inclusive hiring the standard and not the exception?
Again, I just think you would need to change the mindset of they're disabled. I
Mm,
think, if you go back in the beginning of time when women didn't have rights, it was because you felt like women couldn't do the job. Back when schools were segregated, you segregated them because you didn't think that African Americans can keep up with the other side. It's the same problem now. You have the disabled versus the abled. You have the lower class versus the middle class versus upper class. Whenever you put these barriers on populations of people, you're doing that because you indirectly are basically saying they can't keep up, right?
yeah.
So when you take those barriers away, you'll see that not only will they keep up, they'll surpass. In the restaurant industry or in business alone, you want good customer service and you want a good product. Well, they got you at customer service because they don't bring real world problems into the workspace. You get
Mm,
broke up with, I get broke up with, or we have a problem with our friend. It's hard for you not to wear that at work, right? They don't
yeah.
have that problem. They
Yeah.
come to work every day like this is heaven on earth. And
Yeah.
so you can't beat them at the customer service piece. And so if you have a product, that's it. You mesh those two together, you're gonna win it.
Yeah.
So you just have to rewire the way that the world thinks about the population. Slowly, it's starting to evolve. Like I'm starting to see more and more individuals embrace them. I think the barriers are starting to get broken down slowly but
Yeah.
surely. It's just happening a little slower than
I love it. As long as we're moving in that direction, right?
I see change.
And speaking of change and speaking of God seeing the best in you, right? I'm not going to try again for you to sing it, but with this last question, when you take a step back and you look at what you've built over the years, do you see yourself as more of a businessman or more of someone who's answering a deeper calling?
I feel like this, man. All these blessings that I have, all these gifts that God gave me aren't mine, they're His, and I'm just trying to share them. And I'm passionate about that because I feel like He can take those away. And so I always tell people these gifts aren't ours, they're His, and we got to share them. So if there's knowledge that I have, if there's opportunity, I feel like God gave me the flashy stuff like the cars and the money so that people can listen. If you don't have anything, people don't listen. You know what I mean? They don't feel like they don't respect you. You got to get yourself to a point where you have a following on social media or a nice car for people to say, "Hey, what do you do?" And when they ask, "What do you do?" that's your opportunity to use your platform to change. And so I think He gave me some of the gifts that I have so I can use my voice to be instrumental to help people. And that's what the difference between the 20-year-old me and the 30-year-old me was. Like I
Mm-hmm.
had the flashy things before, but I used it to say, "Look at me."
Yeah.
Now I have the same things, but I use it to inspire others and to show people like the way. It's just a different mind frame.
Bravo to you. This is certainly what impact looks like when purpose meets action. Not just changing lives, but changing systems. And if this conversation taught us anything, it's that opportunity should never be limited by perception. Rod, please tell us, where do we follow you? Where do we keep up to date with all of the things that you're doing? And where can we tap in if someone wants to donate? I know you probably don't need anything, but if someone felt so compelled to donate and whatnot, how do we find more information?
Howdy Homemade Katie. Katie is KATY.com. So Howdy, HOWDY, HomemadeKatie.com. You can find us there. You can write on the inquiry link. My phone number's on there, email. That's the easy way to just follow the journey and reach out. And
Okay. What about social media?
so social media is the same. Howdy Homemade Katie is
Okay.
my Instagram handle.
KATY.
And mhm.
I love it. It's been such a pleasure. It's so refreshing to speak to a young Black man who's very successful in giving back to his community, not just giving back, but building community as well. So we appreciate you for who you are to the culture. Keep doing the God work. And what a way to honor your cousin by just simply making people aware. We appreciate you. Take
Yes,
care.
I appreciate you having me.
Absolutely. Take care.
Yes, you too.